Hello everyone, my name is Alex from Ernest Alex Reads, and today I'm going to be talking about all of the 16 books that I read in the month of July. So in the month of July I handed in my bachelor thesis, and I also read 16 books and participated in 2 readathons. I say this every time because I haven't managed to do mid-month wrap-ups in a couple of months, so this video is really just like, look at this book, I read it, here's my rating, and then the next book, because I don't want everything to be so long. So let's talk about some books. The first book that I completed in the month of July was Drumroll Please by Lisa Jen Bigelow. This is a middle grade novel following the main character of Mellie, Mellie, and she is going to a musical summer camp. Her parents just told her the day before camp that they are getting a divorce, and while she's at camp she has her first crush on a fellow female camper. I thought this was a good book. I gave this book 3 stars. The next book I finished was actually an audiobook, and that was the Kiss Quotient by Helen Huang. This book is a adult contemporary romance. It follows a main character who has been diagnosed or is somewhere on the autism spectrum, and she decides that she wants to practice being in a relationship and practice being intimate, and she hires a male escort, and they end up kind of actually falling in love. I had a mixed reading experience with this. I'm not somebody who totally tends towards books with a lot of smut, and so that was an interesting experience for me, and I thought the concept was more interesting than what actually happened in the book, so I ended up giving this book 3 stars as well. The next book that I completed in the month of July was another audiobook, and that was With the Fire on High by Elizabeth Acevedo. I gave this book 5 stars. I loved Elizabeth Acevedo's debut novel written in verse, The Poet X, and I enjoyed this one as well. I just loved Amani, the main character. Like I said, I loved Amani, and I thought her love interest was just the most precious and good boy love interest that I had seen in a long time. Yeah, and I gave this book 5 stars. The next book that I completed was Early Riser by Jesper Fjord. I was so confused by this novel the entire time. I was not attached to any of the characters, and I had I just was so confused and had no idea what was going on. What was the plot of this book? I bought this, in all honesty, because of the amazing cover, and I ended up giving this book 2 stars. I didn't enjoy it. The next couple of books that I completed in the month of July was because I was participating in the 24 and 48 readathon. But the next book that I finished was Heartstopper Volume 2 by Alice Oseman. I absolutely love all of Alice Oseman's books. I met her at Yalc in 2018. She is just so wonderful, and I loved Heartstopper Volume 1. And this one came out in July, and it's just so precious. This book focuses on coming out and coming to terms with your sexuality, and it's just so precious and so soft, and I love the art style, and yeah, I gave this book 5 stars. Next up, I finished another audiobook, and that is the UnhungEMU Nurse by Christina Lauren. This is also an adult romance, but I loved it so much. I love the hate to love trope. I love the UnhungEMU did the fake dating, fake being married, and I really enjoyed it in this book. And I just thought it was wonderful and totally what I wanted during the 24 and 48 readathon, and I gave this book 4 stars. The last book that I completed in the 24 and 48 readathon was Kill the Farm Boy by Delilah S. Johnson and Kevin Hearn. This is like a satirical humor fantasy book. Really enjoyed it. I thought it was hilarious. It was like super nice and I enjoyed my time reading it, and I gave this book 4 stars as well. The next batch of books that I completed in the month of July was part of the Reading Rush readathon, and I tried to daily vlog, but I just produced 4 videos instead of 7. If you want to watch my Reading Rush journey, I will link the playlist down below. And the first book I completed was Trust Exercise by Susan Choi. This is an adult historical fiction centered around a performing arts high school and the students there. This was a mixed bag for me, and I gave it 3 stars. The next book I completed in July was Britt-Marie Was Here by Frederick Bachman. I absolutely love this book, and I love the character of Britt-Marie, and I gave this book 5 stars. After reading Britt-Marie Was Here, I picked up This Time Will Be Different by Misa Suguruya. This book follows a Japanese-American high school student who works in a flower shop, and her trying to save this business that has meant so much to her family, trying to figure out what she's passionate about, and trying to deal with high school and crushes and friendships and all of the messy stuff that happens when you're a teenager. This was also a mixed read for me. I enjoyed a lot of the conversations. I enjoyed seeing teenagers being messy and making mistakes and talking through a lot of complicated issues. I just wasn't really connected to the actual characters and the romance element in this book. And I gave this book 3 stars. I then listened to another audiobook, and that was Autobiography by Christina Lauren. This is a YA male romance set in a small Mormon town in Utah. This book focuses a lot about religion and sexuality and the communities that you grow up with, and the religion that you grow up with, and trying to come to terms with both of those aspects if they are pretty opposing. And I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great, and I gave this book 4 stars. I then completed Everything by Nicola Yoon. This is a YA romance as well. I really enjoyed this book. I thought the plot was very interesting. I liked the illustrations in it, and there was a big twist that I wasn't expecting, and overall just really enjoyed this book as well and gave it 4 stars. I then completed another audiobook and a highly anticipated book for me called Wicked Fox by Kat Cho. I thought the concept of this book was so cool. I thought the plot was all over the place. I didn't think that the 2 main characters had chemistry, even though they were falling in love. And it reminded me a lot of Twilight. I mean, I guess it's a paranormal romance. I just wish that there was more focus on the Korean mythology aspect of the story and less on the like bullying high school drama. So it was a mixed bag for me, and I gave it 3 stars. I then picked up Jurassic Park. I really love the movie. I enjoyed the book a whole lot, and I gave this book 4 stars just because there was like 1 female character and, well, 2 female characters, and they were both, you know, really stereotypical and one-dimensional. And it was definitely a book of its time, but I do love the concept, and I thought it was really nice to actually read the book instead of just watching the movie, although I did watch the movie as well. So it was a great experience all around, and I gave Jurassic Park 4 stars. I then picked up Tell Me 3 Things by Julie Boxbaum. This book was also another mixed bag for me. This was a lot of kind of average reads for me in July. This book is also a contemporary high school romance, so I gave it 3 stars. Good for what it is, but not spectacular. The last book that I read in the month of July 2019 was super amazing, and I enjoyed it so much, and that is The Wolf and the Whale by Johanna Max Brodsky. This is like a historical fantasy that is loosely based on one passage of the Prose Edda, which is a Viking epic poem. Basically, the Vikings traveled to the North American continent, which is now like modern day Newfoundland in Canada, I believe. And there's one passage in the Prose Edda that says that they saw two humans that, based on the description, are very similar to the Inuits. And basically the author kind of use that one passage as a jumping point to a whole epic mythological, it's like a mythological clash of ideologies and cultures, and it was so amazing. I loved every second of this book. I highly recommend this to anybody who is interested in mythology. The writing style was amazing, and I loved it very much, and I gave it 5 stars. So those were all the 16 books that I read in the month of July. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you had a great reading month in July, and thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.